Welcome to the Great Distraction.
What's up, everyone? This is the Great Distraction, and today the topic of discussion is retro gaming resurgence. Dang, for a second there I hesitated, man. My name is Ben, and with me today are my co-hosts Thomas.
Aloha.
Glenn.
Howdy.
And a special guest, Travis.
Well, hello there.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. We thank you for joining us. The Great Distraction is a podcast that focuses on a vast and random range of topics, and we hope that each episode leaves you with, if nothing else, a little something to ponder. Of late, we have seen a huge resurgence of old video games. It's crazy.
Dude, it's all about the retro gaming.
I mean, see, that's the mentality I'm talking about. It seems to have come out of nowhere, and it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, I love it. And those of us from our generation, the kids of the 80s and even the kids of the late 70s or whatever, I mean, we're like, damn, we remember all this. This was great. This was fun. Hey, it's really cool to see it come back. And on top of that, it's really cool to see what it inspires, as the new stuff comes out. I mean, because... Well, for example, I will take back one of the first games that Thomas will remember. Pong, right? How many times has Pong been redone in new fashions and new, cool effects? And, I've seen some, strongly visualization added versions of Pong that are freaking amazing. It's just, cool visuals. The same old dumb game of bouncing a ball back and forth, but they've revitalized it into this crazy visual experience that's just spectacular.
Throw some textures and some exciting backgrounds and...
But still, it's a type of a resurgence of retro gaming, right? It's a resurrection of an old concept, an old game. Tetris. That's another one. I mean, how many versions of Tetris are? As a matter of fact, so Glenn and I just got, I know we're probably a little late to the game or whatever, but hey, it got cheap and it got affordable. We just picked up a PlayStation VR. And there is a Tetris Effect game. I don't know if you've seen that already.
Not yet.
There's Tetris for VR, dude. I haven't played it yet, but
right.
Man, I think it just came out not too long ago, so it's still kind of new. But man, that could be kind of cool to visually grab the blocks, flip them, and put them into place. I mean, Anyway, so a form of resurrecting an old and revitalizing into some crazy stuff. But we're talking, I think, today more about the playing the originals from those times rather than the remakes that have been spawned off of those old video games. And I wanted to throw out there real quick, just kind of give you guys a point of reference of where we're coming from. Home gaming really didn't start until '83, and that was with the Atari 2600. I don't know if you guys remember those. I had one. It was a blast, man. Frogger and Pitfall and the little Indy 500 racer game, and those are a lot of cool games for that. But arcades take us back to the 70s, early 71, and both another Atari. But Atari pretty much dominated the industry for many years. And back then we had all the hits like Pong, Breakout, Space Invaders, Asteroids, and of course Pac-Man. A lot of other Dig Dug. There's just a ton of them that are still, very well known. Whether or not anybody plays them anymore, I don't know. We certainly do remember them. And like I said, Atari was very, very, very dominating the industry. And as a matter of fact, I was watching a short documentary, and I don't know if you guys know this, but you'll definitely appreciate it, I think. Atari was supposed to be Nintendo here. They had a contract that was down to put the wet paper on ink in the boardroom of being the U.S. distributor with variations. They were going to change the console a bit, the Famicom, right? So for those that don't know, NES was originally introduced in Japan as the Famicom in 1983. It came to the U.S. as the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. This is like your original Mario and Duck Hunt and all those games, Excite Bike, in 85, a full 2 years later. That system was supposed to be distributed and partnershiped with Atari. So it would have come over here as Atari Entertainment System or something like that. Nobody really knows how it was going to go through. And it would have looked different too. And I can't remember the specifics of the story. I should have looked it back up. There was something really stupid. It was the guy who ran Atari, I don't want to get too far off a tangent. The guy who ran Atari was a very special character. He really did change a lot of the industry and a lot of modern Silicon Valley businesses, period. If you're ever bored, read a biography about this guy. He was really cool. But anyway, I think he offended the Japanese and Nintendo CEO with some cultural mishap or misunderstanding or something like that. And then some of his actions behind the scenes were kind of shady as the Japanese saw it. So he lost it. And thankful for, I'm sure Nintendo's thankful that they didn't do that partnership, because they ended up, taking the industry completely from Atari, because the home console gaming dominated the world after that.
Well, my personal exposure to video games in general was the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES. My dad bought it to play around with it when I was super, super little.
Yep.
And so that appeared in my home, and I think that a lot of what we're seeing as far as the games that are coming back into style are those games that our parents provided for us when we were in our early developmental stage.
For your age,
for my generation,
a little older, yeah. That was my parents didn't know about any of that, didn't really understand what it was. They were just like, oh, the kids want this, all right, and then we'd go off and play in our room. But yeah, I mean, same thing. It's that early development anyway, and they got us into that, and then hooked after that, right?
And how many more NES systems were in homes versus Atari systems?
Oh, man. Well, seeing that the next few Ataris flopped, a vast majority, it wasn't until Atari didn't even get a minor foothold until, so NES came out in 91 in the U.S. and 90 in Japan. And I don't think it was until the Atari Jaguar came out. And I think that was right when PS1 came out, because that was PlayStation 1. That was a CD-based 64-bit or 32-bit system. So it was very advanced hardware-wise for its age, but no games.
That was Atari?
Atari Jaguar, yeah.
I don't even remember that.
It was very, very...
I think
nobody had one.
I think once the PlayStation came out, it kind of dominated.
Sega CD.
Sega CD was was at the same time as Sega CD, as that dock and then for your Genesis and then the attachment. And then Atari also had a handheld. Do you remember the... so, of course, the Game Boy was a huge thing and variations on that. But you guys remember the Sega Game Gear, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Sega Game Gear, at the same time as Sega Game Gear, was, again, a more advanced hardware, Atari Lynx. The Atari Lynx looked pretty much just like the Game Gear, and it was better hardware. Remember, Game Gear took like 6 AA batteries? Atari Lynx took like 3 or something, or maybe it was 4. It was a lot better, because back then, rechargeable batteries, they were out there, but they were a fortune, and you had to have expensive recharger, yada, yada. So we were all still using alkaline batteries, right? There were no Sanyo in loops back then. Anyway, so I mean, those things ate through batteries, and it cost you a fortune to play. I got like 3 hours of battery life on the Game Gear. 3 or 4 hours, and then you had to go buy another 6 set of batteries to play it, or you had to convince your parents to buy the AC adapter so that you could stay stuck to the wall playing your portable gaming system. Awesome.
Wow.
That was technology.
Oh, yeah.
But what kills me, though, is... I know I'm getting off topic here. What kills me is the Nintendo Switch is a portable gaming system with a 3.5-hour battery life. We're not that far removed from where we came from. We're doing the same crap all over again. Except now it's got a touchscreen and you can play Zelda on it, which is
history
cool.
repeats.
Seriously. Yeah, and we're still playing Zelda on these.
Right.
Oh, yeah, they just keep on remaking shit.
I know.
Well,
at least the franchise anyway, yeah. They just keep the old franchises alive. So and I guess that's a good segue into where I wanted to go from here. What are we seeing now? Well, obviously the retro gaming industry is freaking huge. It's blowing up into probably bigger than the game programmers and console manufacturers even ever could have ever anticipated. Right? Companies are double and triple cashing in because they found a way to resell us games we've already bought. Like multiple times. Some games I have for like multiple systems that I've purchased as either a digital download or a physical copy that was remade. Like I don't know how many times, dude. And I know it's not that old, but like Final Fantasy X, dude, I have that on the Vita, PS4, and PS3.
Have you played through that game once yet?
No, halfway through.
He's bought 5 systems trying to get through that game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I keep thinking if I get this on more systems.
It just needs to be better graphics, then I can win.
That's bad. Well, having the time to do stuff isn't always conducive to having the money to buy things. That's bad. It's also spawned a huge industry in third-party accessory manufacturers. I mean, they're making tons of money off of making retro controllers, even tiny screens to play things on, or machines that'll play emulation. Will basically do emulation, all kinds of stuff, man. And then the Chinese have come up with 1,000,001 knockoffs, all over the place. It's insane.
That's true. In regards to the knockoffs, you're seeing that all over the place, like with the Steam Marketplace, being able to do the third-party, development as far as those the 16-bit
Yeah, big time. Oh, and then for those that don't know, Steam is how would you even call it? I mean, it's for PC, it's for your computer and Mac. It's like a store that you can buy like hundreds of thousands of games now, I think, and you basically purchase your games through that, and then you can play them on your PC. And it even has ways to put your PC in like what's called big picture mode, so it looks like your console. It's kind of cool. I have a home theater PC, and when it boots up, it goes directly into Steam big picture mode. So it's like turning on your PlayStation, your Xbox. It goes to like a menu mode, and then from there with my controller, I use an Xbox controller for that. And you can like change, go to your games, select your game, update your games, whatever. So it's just like turn on your PS4 or whatever, or your PlayStation. Go ahead. What are you saying?
Oh, I was just thinking about how we're using modern gadgets to play old games. It's fun.
Well, it's like I was saying. It's like, man, I'm repaying for some of these games. Like Final Fantasy VII came out not too long ago, and I realize that's not that far back. But Final Fantasy VII came out for the iOS for the iPhone, right? $10. It was $15 when it on sale. $15 normal price. I'm like, are you kidding? Wasn't the game like $25 when it was out brand new back in the day on PlayStation 1 on 4 discs?
Yep.
Now they deliver it digitally, and I'm still paying $15 for it. Come on. Yes, and that one I've beaten many times.
So never mind.
Cost of living's going
Going
up.
there.
Cost of gaming.
Digital delivery is expensive, man.
Cost of gaming keeps going up on every level.
Yeah, well, one of the things I found really interesting about this is that we have not seen a resurgence so much of the original games, the older stuff, the Atari 2600 games, arcade games. I mean, there's always the remakes that, like I mentioned earlier, of the Pac-Mans, the Froggers, the Pongs, but we're not seeing like the original Asteroids, re-released. You can get them in some platforms, but you're not seeing it as big as...
I've seen those appear in cameos in modern games.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like little side games that you can play inside the game.
Right.
Yes, that's hecka cool. Doesn't Tekken do that because they're Konami and something like that?
Yeah, something along those. But, I lost my train
Oh,
of thought.
no worries. Yeah, it seems to be the only the late 80s and early 90s generation games, which is when, oddly enough, when we, came into gaming, and it's like, so obviously it's our people, our age group that's feeding this. I don't think that there's too many, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think that this, that what's feeding this monetarily wise, financial wise, is coming from the younger generations? I mean, I just don't see them.
I really think it's probably based more in our age bracket, but there is also variations on these retro games, speed runs.
Yes, speed runs, like the ADGQs, the awesome games done quick. That's a big thing that started, I'm not sure exactly what year it started, but I think it really got big in 2014 on YouTube.
Yes.
And they're getting millions of dollars in donation. They donate to, I think, the American Red Cross Association.
Yeah.
And most of the games that they run like anything from Contra to...
I forgot all about that. So for those that don't know, what they're talking about is people on YouTube will play through a game as fast as possible, and they will come up with the most minute little glitches in the game or ways to bypass or whatever to shave off like milliseconds off of getting through a game. And it's insane to watch somebody beat all of Mario Brothers from the original NES in like 2 minutes or something nuts like that.
Well, and they use these things called the tool-assisted speed run. So they actually take the ROM and they break it down every frame, so they can do a frame perfect run, and then they try to emulate that, in real time, and that's when you see
they pick the game apart to figure out where every single that's the other thing. Also, they're down to counting the number of frames in the game in order to reduce time. It's insane. And have you seen anyone do that in Contra?
I have seen a speed run of Contra, and it's incredible.
Dude, that's ridiculous.
It's incredible. No, they're ridiculous. I remember playing that game as a kid, and not being able to get past the second level.
Even with up, down, down, left, right, BA select start. Even with 30 lives, I couldn't get into the stupid game.
No.
That got me
It's
to level
impressive.
3 or something, It's like, all right, there went all my lives. Yeah, I've tried playing that recently too, and it's like, forget it, dude.
Oh my goodness! Try going back and playing Resident Evil.
Oh, with those fixed camera angles. Well, as a matter of fact, I was just playing that not too long ago because the remake of Resident Evil 1 is on Steam, and it looks beautiful.
Really?
I don't know if you can get it on any consoles. I'm probably sure you can, right? Because it's Capcom is on everything, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's amazing. They've done 1 and 2 so far, and then they did 0, which was like a kind of a prequel one. It's really cool. But yeah, those I have gone back and played the original, and I do distinctly remember all these scary nights. My brother and I playing the original PlayStation, turn off all the lights in the dark, right, and playing that game, dude. Never forget the damn dog jumping through the window, right? Like, everybody remembers the dog jumping through that window in that hallway. You're like, nah. How do you shoot it? How do you point down to shoot it? You had to wait till it was right up on you, dude. Then you could point the damn gun down, and it still took like 4 or 5 shots to get it. So terrible.
Oh man, back when games used to actually be suspenseful.
Oh, dude. Well, yeah. I mean, there's still some suspenseful games.
Well, yeah, but they play so cleanly. You don't have that sticky movement where you feel like
the mechanics are not
mud.
the problem, right?
Right.
Back then, it was the mechanics were the problem. Now we're just like
trying to do the wall jump up something where you had to.
You just said wall jumps, and I just thought of Mario 64. Like, trying to, like, you know how you used to have to, like, you'd have to flick the controller, the joystick, left and then right as you were bouncing off the wall to try and go back and forth up a wall, 2 walls that were next to each other.
Now those are some impressive speed runs.
Dude,
Mario
that's
64.
crazy.
Oh my, they can beat the game in like 20 minutes.
I don't even understand how you could speed run a 3-dimensional environment like that. That's just like way too.
It's
too
impressive.
much, man.
A lot of clipping.
Because now you're looking for going through walls and stuff. Clipping is going through walls. Like you find glitches in the game, and you find places where the programming was messed up or whatever. You can like walk through a wall because they found it, right? But I mean, you think of a 3-dimensional environment. This is like a 2D runner. There's one line, right? I mean, it's only how many things you can jump over or maybe go through if you can clip through it or whatever. But in a 3-dimensional environment, you have to find the straightest, shortest path,
Right.
where you can go any which direction, including up and down, depending on
You're
what level
adding
it
a
is.
whole nother dimension.
Nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Nuts. Yeah, that blew me away the first time I played a game that you could actually use the mouse. It was going to PC, look around, was Duke Nukem 3D.
Yes!
3D.
Oh, so when you mentioned the clipping, that was what came to mind.
No clipping?
Yeah, exactly.
IDDQD? Oh, that was
Yep.
God mode in Doom. Never mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the BFG.
No clipping.
No clipping. Caution tripping.
You need a no clipping sticker now.
No clipping sticker. Nice. Yeah, I might work on that. I'll see if I can find a good graphic for that. I like making stickers for various things. It's just kind of fun. It's kind of cool to see your graphic, actually in a sticker that you can stick somewhere on something, and like, yeah, that's cool. That's my graphic or whatever. It's kind of a fun thing.
He really just likes to stick it.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a whole bunch of
Likes adhesion.
we haven't adhesion. We haven't made them available yet, but we have a whole bunch of great distraction paraphernalia and swag that we're working on putting together here, and we'll make it available to listeners if you guys like. Hopefully shortly, but anyway, yeah, stickers. I brought a new one for the guys that I just made, and that's what Thomas was referring to. But yeah, no clipping sticker might be cool. Just got to find a graphic that's not copyrighted. That's the tricky part there. Yeah, so early PC games, man. Doom and Wolfenstein. I mean, we definitely still see Doom. I mean, there's lots of Doom.
How many times has Doom been re-released?
Ooh, I'd have to look that up a lot of times. However, they did just hit their 25th anniversary.
Really?
And, yeah, how old does that make you feel? I was there in the beginning, dude, on floppy disks.
Wow.
Yes, installing and buying that on floppy disks. 3.5-inch floppy disks. And they just hit the 25th anniversary, and they are the original developer. Well, he's obviously still around. I think there's 2 of them. They are getting together to make 25 new levels for the original Doom.
Wow.
Really? Nice.
Yes. You remember how when you play it, you would select the campaigns, the 3 campaigns?
Yeah.
They're making a 4th campaign for it. I can't remember what it's called now, but that's, and they're going to release it for free.
I'm kind of excited about that.
Yes,
Right.
big time. And go search for it on YouTube, and you can see the trailer for it. The trailer's pretty badass. They did a pretty good job of putting the the retro aspect and then building it up or whatever. It's like a movie trailer, right? But it's Doom, the old Doom. Yes, we're talking Windows 3.1 Doom, DOS Doom.
Nice.
And
DOS Doom.
Yeah, and Wolfenstein, dude. Yeah, DOS Doom.
Oh man.
I didn't actually intend for that.
Well played.
Yes. And Wolfenstein, yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, I remember Wolfenstein. We used to come on 1 floppy, dude. Doom was 3. I'm sorry, Doom was 5. Doom 1 was 5. Shoot, maybe Doom 1 was 2 and Doom 2 was 5. I can't remember. And Wolfenstein was 1, man. Remember Wolfenstein used to be the screensaver for Windows 95 or Windows 3.1. It was going through the walls, and you would turn and go through. Remember that?
Yes,
I didn't realize that was Wolfenstein. I had
it
no
wasn't,
idea.
It wasn't actually Wolfenstein. It was they took that part from Wolfenstein, or vice versa. Maybe but whatever that engine was that generated that, it was used in Wolfenstein because it was like the same textures and like the same movement and whatever.
That's right. I know exactly what you're talking
Heck
about.
yeah, dude.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Now you know where you came from. Don't forget where you came from, man. Yeah, did you guys ever see that T-shirt that has the NES controller on it? It says "Know Your Roots" below it.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's on my wish list.
Your roots. Yeah. So I should make a sticker on that. Damn it,
See,
there it
you
is.
go. You gotta start writing this stuff down.
There's the sticker. Got to make the Know Your Roots. There's probably actually a million of those already because that's like there used to be T-shirts, all kinds of stuff on
Yeah,
that.
sure.
Anyway, what's funny too, what I found really funny too about this is this stuff has led to the birth of modern 8-bit gaming. Back in the day, it was 8-bit gaming, right?
Right,
Now
because that was the capacity.
yeah, that was exactly. Now they're doing new 8-bit looking games.
Now it's a style.
Now it is
It's a genre.
Huge,
It's a style.
Minecraft.
oh, that's going to be the first one on my list. Yeah, Minecraft, Terraria. Thank you.
That game's actually a lot of fun.
It
though.
is. I have it. I could never pronounce the name of it. Say it again.
Terraria.
Terraria. Stardew Valley. I don't know if you guys know Stardew Valley. It's a Harvest Moon clone or whatever. There's so many of them. Yeah, I mean that just first.
Unepic.
Unepic.
I don't know that one.
Okay,
That's for the Switch.
Oh, I don't have a Switch.
Well, I think it was also a Steam release, wasn't it?
It was. It was released on Steam like I want to say a year and a half, 2 years before it came out on the Switch.
Pretty fantastic game though, and it has cultural references that are pertinent to our generation. So if anybody who is interested in retro games because it calls to their inner kid, play this game. There'll be call-outs throughout it that just make you smile.
What
It's
is it
true.
again?
Unepic.
Unepic.
But it's done in a 8-bit sort of Castlevania-esque
Like that one
style.
game I told you to get on iOS, Evoland, right?
Yeah.
Evoland, like that. So it calls out.
Yeah.
That's a cool game. Cool. Anyway, Minecraft. Just and to give an example of how big this crap has gotten, Mojang, which is a company that made Minecraft, sold Minecraft. I don't know how many years it had been out to Microsoft for $2.5 billion. $2.5 billion.
Nice.
Let that sink in. The head guy, I can't remember his name now. The head guy, I think it was a Swiss company, if I remember correctly. After he took his share of his cut from the sale or whatever, actually won a bid against Beyonce for the most expensive home in Beverly Hills. He bought $70 million mansion, I believe. $70 million mansion.
All
Wow.
right.
It's insane.
If only.
Yeah, if you can actually YouTube it, and you can see there's whoever sold the house. I think they were originally asking 85, but it ended up selling for 70. Whoever was originally was put the house for sale, they had created this really cool video showing off this house and all the crazy crap that comes with it, right? So you can go on YouTube and like search Mojang's house, and you can see all the video footage from this.
If it doesn't have a chopper pad, I'm not interested.
No helipad, because I don't think you can fly over that area. But I don't know.
There's
sure about
helipads
that.
on some of those
Really?
houses. Oh, yeah.
No helipad.
Hey, if I'm spending $70 million on a house, it better have a.
It
Oh,
does
well,
have like
bad.
a crazy car collection.
I think I
that
can
it comes
afford
with.
whatever permits I need to get for the helipad.
I mean, assuming you. Interesting note too. That guy has publicly done some. Well, how do I say this? Done some PR, not PR, public statements on Twitter and various other social media about how miserable and lonely he feels after his sale. He said he's like just crazy stuff like I'm alone in this like huge house and like I don't have. It's like you don't know who your friends are. I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm not happy. Like this is like I want to go back to where I was before because it's that's kind of interesting if you do any follow up with that guy, which I can remember his name now, but kind of all of a sudden and he said
I'm going to name him Whiny Rich Guy.
And there's
the world's smallest violin is playing over here in that story.
But there is something to be said for something happening to people, and it has happened to a lot of people, especially in the tech industry, where you've gone from zero to filthy rich almost overnight. And how to deal with that? I mean, it's not all roses and fairy farts.
I'm sure there's a learning curve.
I was going to say, just look at professional athletes. That's
Yeah,
exactly what they
yep.
deal. They go from college not making anything to being millionaires.
Yeah, and that's only millionaires. Billionaire
Right.
is a way different story, right?
Right.
That's with a B.
Yeah,
right.
That's lots of millions. Millions. Did you ever see that Trump video? Millions and or was it billions?
Billions
No.
and billions.
And it never ended.
Yeah.
Look it up. Yeah. So I mean, obviously that's that's kind of a rare case. I mean, most major corporations like Microsoft aren't purchasing these, but companies are
will.
buying this stuff. Oh yeah, and as this continues to grow bigger and bigger. I mean, it's. I was just and so you guys hadn't heard of Stardew Valley, but that's the one I have some numbers on. Stardew Valley has on Steam anyway. It's on every console now, including it's coming to the phones too. On Steam alone, it's overwhelmingly positive at 100,000 reviews. So that's not just people who have purchased it. That's 100,000 reviews. The game has never dropped below $10. Average price is $15. Do the math. 100,000, just the 100,000 times 15. I mean, holy crap! That's only one system. That's only the ones that have ever. I mean, these games are worth a fortune if you market it properly. And and you can get the following and whatever. I don't know how in the hell they do that, but all I know is once it catches traction and gets going,
they're hard to stop.
It's just impossible to stop, man. They just keep going and going unless the developers are like, well, forget this, we're not doing this anymore, and we're. I mean, even still, would still alive, stay alive. I mean, I don't know what Microsoft has really done. They've added some stuff to Minecraft or whatnot, but they haven't. They haven't done anything super crazy, I don't think, since, and it's just still feeding off of its own thing.
Right.
Even the spin-offs on some of these games are ridiculous. I mean, there's like YouTube TV shows in Minecraft, right?
Are there really?
Dude, they literally set up a world with a set. They build sets inside of Minecraft, and then they have for those that don't know, Minecraft is multiplayer. And you can have a whole bunch of people in your world, like dozens and dozens and dozens, and their characters are in there, and they act out their own stories. And they're like one of them in
Red versus Blue.
Yeah, right. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Red
I don't know
versus
what that
Blue.
is. What is that?
Oh,
It's so Halo, the original Halo.
Uh-huh.
So that's exactly what it was. It was people playing the game, recording it, and they've just voiced over it. And they made a whole series. It's hilarious.
Okay,
Rooster Teeth, Red
I didn't
versus
realize this
Blue.
was that old because Halo's old.
Hey, and it was the original Halo.
Off the original Xbox. Wow,
Yeah.
I remember playing it.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
cool.
So
it's
fantastic.
hilarious.
First
First
super
two
cool.
seasons were amazing.
Oh, the show was good.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
it was,
good.
the show
it was
was
awesome.
hilarious. The show was hilarious.
Wow,
it was good.
They've definitely done that with Minecraft. There's a long-running series that same actors, same people, and they film. They don't film because you know how the camera, you can float the camera around.
Right.
That whoever controls that camera is the filmer, and then they turn it to a video and upload it to YouTube. I'm like, that's insane, dude. And the beautiful part about that kind of stuff is anybody can do that stuff. Doesn't mean you're
Right.
going to get big,
Yeah.
but the thing is that anybody can do it. You don't have to go to a production company. You don't have to get the approval from the record industry. You don't have to do any of this crap. You just put it together. If it's good, people will like it. Helps to have somebody pay to advertise it if you can get some financial backing. But nevertheless, that's amazing. Anybody can do this.
Right.
It's like stop motion animation, right? People that got real big as people are sitting in their bedrooms playing around with their cheap digital
The
cameras,
So they're sitting around in their bedrooms and they're just playing around with what?
lumps of clay.
Oh, okay.
You dirty
wow.
you dirty dog.
Thought we were
you.
going somewhere else.
Is that what is that what they're calling it these days? I'm just molding my clay. Yes. Yeah, you're nasty.
Oh boy.
Get your mind out the
Wow.
clay gutter. Yeah, but I thought that stuff was really cool. Seeing the stop motion animation that people would produce of movies, and they're shorts, not really. Well, I think there are some full motion movies actually people done. Really cool. One of my little cousins is into that, and I was like, "You're doing what?" And he showed me a couple of things he was playing around with. I was like, "Dude, that's really cool, man! You got the patience to sit there and minutely move some pieces of clay and take a picture every 20 seconds. It's rough, but
It's rough, but it's awesome.
Oh, it's a beautiful art.
That's how
form.
Celebrity Deathmatch came to.
Right.
You're right. That's right. I forgot all about that.
Well,
And the other things, like the huge major motion pictures, like Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean,
Right.
I mean, all like a lot of the Tim Burton's and several of them, right? I mean, those things
Yeah.
those are amazing, and they're go down in history for people who've put those things together. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you can make movies in Minecraft and
All right.
other stuff. I'm sure.
Anyway, but Minecraft is just, it's got that 8-bit style.
Yep, and then the masking that they put onto it too. I mean, you can get themes for it. You can get a Nightmare Before Christmas Minecraft skin
Interesting.
pack. Yeah.
I've never actually played Minecraft. I
Dude,
play a lot of games. I don't play Minecraft.
One thing I will say, so there's no real.
You'll lose your life to it if you really get involved.
If you really get into it.
Just
Here's the
say
thing,
no.
though. Yeah.
I think that's what we're learning here.
Here's the thing,
Just say
though.
no, Travis.
Really cool because it's super relaxing. There's really no point to the game. It's like World of Warcraft, except less point. You can't win it. You can't beat it. There's nothing to.
You can only lose it.
You can only lose the game, and every time you start it up, you will be reminded that you have lost that game in life. Kind of like World of Warcraft.
Fucking hate you.
So, I mean, yeah, it's. But if you ever get a chance, you get a copy of it for free or something. I wouldn't recommend going out and buy it unless you really, really want to get into it. The music alone is super relaxing. I mean, you get stoned, turn it on. It's super easy to learn. It's super easy to play, and you just build. It's like having digital Legos in a sense. And if you go into creative mode, there's two modes. There's one where you can die and kind of play a little
Isn't
bit.
it kind of like Sims a little bit?
Yeah. Well, there's like I said, there's two modes. There's survival mode, and then not to be freaking promoting Minecraft or whatever, but
Yeah, why are we
I
talking
don't
about
know.
Minecraft?
I just take a step back and think about what we're still talking about here.
Well, you brought up music. That's an interesting point because if you go back to a lot of those retro games, a lot of the greats that really stand out, they have phenomenal soundtracks. Chrono Trigger.
Yep.
Oh my lord.
Which is ridiculous for the fact that they were just simple, stupid tones a lot of times.
yeah.
But man, Squaresoft and Square, they were just the masters of here. Let me give you 5 beat boops to work with, 5 various variations on beat boops, and you make it music. And they're like, dude, you just made a digital symphony off a beat boop bop. That's freaking amazing. And
I
it
think
was.
that's the root to all pop
Proper.
music right now.
Beat boop bop.
It is. It really is.
Well, that was bop, but that was a long time. Oh, man.
But
No,
music
don't do
and
that.
everything
Don't do
kind of
that.
changed back then. That was one of the things I always
Yeah, it
remembered.
went downhill.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
the 90s.
I like 90s music, but yeah.
Well, 90s
90s
alternative.
R&B.
I think the video games, though, because people they responded to these simple noises like 2 and 3 sounds.
That's an
Super
interesting
simple.
point. Leave it to Thomas to bring that. Yeah, maybe we like EDM so much because we grew up listening to,
Maybe you like EDM so
Oh,
much.
That's true.
the people in general
Wait.
like EDM. A lot of people like it.
A number
Travis-
of people.
Hey, to each
I
his
get no
own,
love
man.
from Travis,
To
dude.
each his own. To each his own.
Well, at this table, I'm the only one, but yeah. There he goes. Hey, man, that sounds like it's
But it's like
copyright.
one or
Don't do
two sounds.
bad.
Yeah.
that. Yeah, well, I mean, technically, you could say that about a lot of music. A lot of
true.
music is extremely simple, like
Simple and repetitive. That's how you get people
Blink
to listen
182,
to.
for example, if you were into the pop, whatever you call
Absolutely
that, emo
not.
or whatever, it's like the same. But those were like major artists, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they
true.
just there's a lot of
true.
music is very simple. In fact, a lot of successful music is very simple.
And that's
In
what
fact,
I
a
think-
lot of pop music.
But I
is
think
very
that's one of the
simple.
things with
That is
with,
the definition of pop. Is
Yeah, it's
simple
simple.
and easy to listen to.
Yeah, but that for me, in video games, when I was a kid, I was always, I always knew all the weird little songs, the crazy video games, or would hum them or whatever.
Hell
It's,
yeah,
it's
dude.
part of it.
I could,
Right.
don't do it, but I could think of Mario like in my head right now, or Zelda, dude. Come on.
Right?
I've heard a Mario theme done on guitar that was amazing.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Doing some remakes of remixes. That's what I was looking for. Remixes of old. I've heard some crazy stuff people have put together for that. That's
Right.
yeah.
I've heard some guy on electric guitar that's making all the sound, like the tunnel sounds.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man, yeah, he played through the entire first stage.
That's
It's
awesome.
excellent. The jumps,
So what, he like
the
played the
coins.
game in it? No
No,
way.
he's just doing everything on the guitar. He's doing everything on the guitar, but it sound you can hear the coin sound, the jumps, the everything. He's got himself recorded doing it. It's remarkable.
That's really cool. You know what I really appreciate too is when they remaster games, like the Final Fantasy that be remastered. They remaster the soundtracks too, and it's like, man, I remember when all that was like do 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 do, whatever. Now it's like a full orchestra actually performing. Like that is amazing. Very very cool. I can't wait for the Final Fantasy VII remake is coming out like a couple of months or whatever on PS4.
I'm holding my breath on that one. Like it's
And then if they come out with a special edition of the PlayStation,
if they do it right, I will be thrilled.
Are they still going to do installments? Because I heard that was a thing for the Final
I
Fantasy
have not
VII.
heard that. How do you mean installments?
Like they were going to release it in separate editions.
Okay, let me
like
let me add something to
episodes.
that because that's a wonderful, stupid thing that they're doing. The next Kingdom Hearts is coming out, Kingdom Hearts 3. Apparently, 75% of the game has already been leaked, and you can some guy got early copies because it's coming out like in a matter of days or something like that, weeks or something. But 2 weeks, I think, before it came out, this guy's slanging copies of this on eBay. Right? He must work for a store or something like that. I don't know how he got them so early. But what I read, and again, I don't know if this is true, so listeners, go out and do your own research if you care to find out. What I heard is that Squaresoft, only put like 75-80% of the game on the disc. You download the rest of it so that they could control people seeing the ending in anticipation
Wow.
of a
That sounds
of a leaked thing. So, well, okay, on one thing, that's crazy that, first of all, Kingdom Hearts is freaking huge. For those that don't know, it's a combination of like basically Final Fantasy type gameplay with Disney characters. So I mean, it's pretty epic, and because it's got freaking Disney on it, gets all the Disney freaks all excited. So people will go buy this game, which isn't exactly a simple, easy game for their little kids, and their little kids are like, "What the hell do I do with this game?"
It's a story that started with on the PS2, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
And it's been
going for a while.
we've been waiting for this game for years.
Yes.
Well, Kingdom Hearts 2 came out a year and a half, 2 years after the first one.
Yeah.
Something
and
along
then
those lines.
there's
And then
1.5 and 2.5, and then 1.5 and 2.5 Remux for PS4, and they've just been redoing it, right? We've been waiting for 3 forever. Yeah. So they knew it was going to be so anticipated. They actually took the time to develop it separately. However, this is one of the things I can't stand about new video games or whatever.
DLC.
DLC. Thank you.
Oh.
Downloadable content for those that are not in the know and listening and still listening with us.
thank you, mobile games.
Dude, yeah, the mobile gaming industry just destroyed the gaming industry, period.
Yep.
They made it acceptable to do things like this.
Microtransactions.
Microtransactions are, okay, so for those of you that are still listening and are not gamers, microtransactions are those annoying little things that I'm sure you picked up your phone and played the stupid Candy Crush, or your kid is playing some game where they need coins, or you're gambling on your phone and you need extra cards, or a pool cue. All those little things that they sell you that are upgrades or cosmetic upgrades or whatever. Everybody knows about Fortnite now. If you have a kid, you know about Fortnite. Fortnite has 1 billion skins and other upgrades that you can get, which are not game upgrades. They're just cosmetic upgrades. But nevertheless, you'll pay the money, or somebody will pay the money. Those are microtransactions. And smartphone gaming, whatever, is what opened the door for that, made it socially acceptable on a vast level, because everybody had a smartphone, was playing games and doing this. And then they rolled it into video games and the video game consoles. But now we've led to games that are unfinished. Okay, first off, I hated the whole movement, not that this is retro gaming, but I hated the whole movement to games that come out that are all just online.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Not owning a physical copy.
No, I'm sorry, that are played online. Like Destiny. Is there a single player by yourself version of Destiny to play?
As in, if you are not logged into the internet, you cannot play said game.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't, yeah, so there's games out there now that you have to be logged on the internet.
Overwatch.
Yeah, and there you go, Overwatch, yeah. Fortnite's the same thing too. There's no single player version as far as I know to Fortnite. I just downloaded it last night for the first time, so I haven't actually started playing it, but I've been watching. But yeah, so now it's not only was it socially acceptable at that point and accepted by the consumers to give them a game that you couldn't play by yourself. So now they don't have to spend the time writing a good story.
Right.
They just throw the crap out there, regurgitate some old Unreal Engine or something, throw some new sprites on there, and there you go. I mean, that's not that simple, but nevertheless, it's a lot simpler than starting from scratch like it used to be, right? And then all you do is play with everybody in the world. Like, I don't really want to play with everybody in the world. What if I just want to go home and play with it myself?
You always have that.
You know, I
option,
can relate.
Sometimes it's just easier. Just do it yourself.
I
So
think if you
now-
do all this talking about games in public or at a bar, that's all you're ever going to do.
Damn. You're cold as ice, Tom.
Nice.
Well, it's glad we still have Thomas with us tonight to just go ahead and stick you in the side while we're recording every once in a while. Let you know who your true friends are.
Just reminding you that you're awake.
That I'm a loser. Yeah, so it's acceptable now to not have a full single-player game and just have this online deal, right? Now, with this, if what I said was correct about Kingdom Hearts 3, it's going to become acceptable to not even give us a full freaking game.
It's ridiculous.
So now, if you have that game later, and let's say 20 years from now, it's a retro game that I want to go back and play, and I do this regularly with old games that I own, right? I bust out that old system and plug it in, because I don't want to pay for a new copy of it or whatever. And now I can't finish the game because their servers have been shut down. I can no longer download that finishing thing. I don't know how that's going to work. Do you have to manually store it on your hard drive and then hopefully you keep it on your PS4 for forever? Never throw that hard drive away. That's the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 for me. Or what they may do is there'll be DLC and then they'll release a Game of the Year edition or a limited edition or whatever that has all of it built onto this. So now you have to buy the game twice.
Hence why people started going back to the retro games. It's almost like we're coming full circle.
That is exactly what I was hoping somebody would say. Thank you, Travis. Yes.
Oh.
Retro gaming
to
blows up.
Escape from this
Madness.
we'll just go back to our roots.
Know
Well,
your roots.
so speaking of the roots, this new Super Smash Brothers game came out for the Switch.
Is it out now?
It is.
Dude,
it is.
that
Now-
thing was so anticipated.
Oh my God! Now I love Super Smash Brothers.
yeah.
I followed it
Oh, yeah.
through,
Mega following.
and I love fighting games all throughout.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that this Super Smash Brothers game is bringing back is the whole unlocking characters. You have to play the game to unlock the full roster, and just by doing that, it was, it just brought me back.
Cool.
And it was just this.
Definitely. I remember how that got lost. Yeah, I mean, it just. The other thing too is there's a whole. I know no, maybe it wasn't Fortnite. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Basically, paying to unlock the game up front. You know, it's like, what the hell is that, dude? They're totally trying to milk you. Yeah, because people are like, people will do that, and that's what's stupid. And then those lazy or stupid people that do that make it okay. And then now all of a sudden you get circumstances where the developers and the game console manufacturers, they know that people will do this, so they'll just make it the option. Make it not an option, they'll force you into it. Mm-hmm. Can't stand it, man. Man. And then on top of that, they're charging ridiculous amounts for the games themselves. What did I just see today? There was a PlayStation Store sale, and it was the latest Call of Duty with all the DLC, and it was like $116 on sale. Are you freaking kidding me? It's whatever the latest version of Call of Duty is. I can't remember what it is. But it's like I couldn't believe it. There was a couple of games that were over $100 for the full bundle because they're new and they're giving you everything up front. And it's like, and it wasn't even a season pass. Like, so for those that don't know, sometimes when they release a game, they'll give you a whole bunch of content with the game, right? But there's almost always going to be, games are not finished. Like freaking movies aren't finished anymore, dude. Like I swear, every movie has to be left open so that they can make a franchise out of it and make a second and a third and whatever, right?
Well,
so
if you got a copy or a concept that's selling, why would you want to finish it?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Or sell a car that never breaks down.
Yeah, exactly. Or just never finish it, so people always want more, right? So they do what's called, they know they're going to be releasing DLC, which is more add-ons to the game. They do what's called, they make what's called season passes. So you can buy the DLC as it comes out and pay, and you can turn that $49, $59 game into a $100 game. No problem. They'll get you over the next 6 months or whatever. And all your buddies have the new DLC, so you got to have it if you want to keep playing online, so you're going to get it. Or you can spend a bit more than what the DLC costs and buy the season pass. So let's say a DLC costs $15, $25. Well, maybe a few weeks after the DLC comes out, there's a season pass for $25 or $30. And the season pass gets you just what it sounds like. You can have the existing DLC and all DLC going forward. So give us $30 now, or don't and keep buying the DLC as it comes out, or do what I do and wait till they bundle it all together in one Game of the Year edition, limited edition, contains everything, and then wait for that to drop down to like $10.
But Ben,
no,
you gotta play it right when it comes out, man.
That's the beauty of not playing games online with your buddies, Or you have a whole group of buddies, which I do have a whole group of buddies, which we wait for games to drop down in value in price because we're not interested in paying. We're so backlogged with the old games we haven't played. We're not even tripping about the new stuff that comes out.
Still working on Mario 3. And,
hey man, I'm playing Mario 64 now. Thank you very much.
Okay, stepping it up. I see it.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's how they're getting us today. And one of the things that I appreciate the most about this whole retro gaming movement is specifically the indie and the 8-bit gaming movement is that for the most part, they're giving us the whole game up front. Now, some of them do they have to get really big before they start doing microtransactions. It was forever before Minecraft started doing add-ons that cost money and stuff. They were updates and they would add new stuff, but it pretty much wasn't until Microsoft bought it, actually, that they started whoring out the upgrades and stuff.
They realized how to make more money off
they
this.
knew already, right? They knew already. They were like, thank you.
They're just copying Disney.
Oh, fuck. I hate Disney. Anyway.
What?
Yeah. No. Yeah, big time prostitution companies. Yes, that's what they do. They find ways to just milk the public and sell them. And then nostalgia. Holy crap, dude! You got like a nice little lifeline right into their brain and their heartstrings. You just pluck that whenever you want it. Oh, bung, bung, more money.
Well,
more
if
money,
you
more money.
can generate this nostalgia feeling for the parent, they're gonna want to, provide this experience to their child, so they'll remember it when they get older, and then they can.
It's like Happy Meals, and how do we feel about that? McDonald's, same thing.
Burn them to the ground.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about. Let's take Disney down.
I am not advocating anybody actually burning a place down, please.
Yeah, but you got to remember, for them, on a marketing standpoint, there's a new 7-year-old every single minute.
Every single minute.
So there's a new client. Just like tobacco.
Money.
Tobacco is the
money.
same
That's
way.
the same concept. That's
Yep.
right. It's like Apple. That's what Apple did too. And we all grew up with Apple computers in our little computer labs, right? I remember wanting to go home and, Mommy, Daddy, buy me an Apple so I can play Oregon Trail at home. Oh, sure, no problem. We'll go out and buy you a $3,000 Apple.
Oregon Trail.
I just bought, speaking of retro gaming, I bought from Target has this little thing that they're selling, right? It's a little, I keep forgetting to bring it because I wanted to show you specifically, Glenn. It's a little unit that's about the size of a Game Boy, maybe a little bigger, and it's the full little color screen and buttons, not the full keyboard because you don't need that, just the buttons you need to play. It's full Oregon Trail. It is a blast, and I was playing it the other night, and it was the first time I ever actually beat Oregon Trail. I made it all the way, dude. Be the banker, take the money.
Oh, always.
You have all the money to go through.
Yeah.
However, you don't get as many points. Right. So if you're trying to game for points to get some record to compete or whatever.
So when did points stop being a thing?
Seriously, that's
because
a great question.
When games got less hard.
I always looked at it like, well, some of the arcade games are super tough, dude. They get crazy. Have you ever tried playing Pac-Man past like level 3?
But you still generate points.
It's all points.
Yeah. I think when they left the arcade era, because what?
Yeah.
Trying to get a high score.
Mario had points.
No,
but
you're right.
Mario had points, but nobody cared about points. I never remember anybody talking about, look at my high score on that. I mean, yeah, when you jumped on the top of the flag and you got a 5,000, that made you feel better because you made it to the top of the flag.
Dude, it's all about the big numbers. Give me those big numbers.
I don't know. Did you guys compete with points?
Any game that has points, I'm going for the top score.
We probably could have taken that back and said, did you and your friends compete, period? Yes, we competed. We found ways to compete. No, I was never a competitive person, so maybe that was me that I never paid attention to the points. But I just felt like it wasn't based on that. And on top of that, in the arcade games, in the arcade days, when you finished the level or whatever, you had this huge thing that flashed up with your big score. Look at your score. Type in your name. When we got later that there were still points, like the home console gaming, there was a score in the upper left-hand corner, right-hand corner that was really tiny. They never really brought it up, made it big, like it was a big special thing. So you kind of forgot about it. I kind of forgot about it. And most of the time, since I just had one sibling and we were 5 years apart, and so it was too far different. So I wasn't playing with anyone else. I was playing by myself.
Just playing with yourself all the time now, aren't you?
Oh, poor guy.
I'm setting it up for Glenn here, and he's just not doing it. No, he's not feeling it tonight.
Oh, he's doing it.
You dirty dog.
No, but I feel like that with the scoring thing, though, I feel like that comes back from an even earlier era, like pinball games and stuff. Because back then that mattered a lot. I mean, we had pinball games when I was a kid.
I didn't even. I used to have one, dude. I lucked out, and somehow we got one. I can't remember what the hell the deal was. I had one in my garage.
Back then, it was all about the high score. And I think that when we made the switch into like video games, that was still like, well, how do you win? Well, we just took that, same mentality.
You saved the princess.
Well, yeah, that was later, but in the beginning, it was all
there
about...
were no princesses in pinball, huh?
Turn from high score to fastest time.
Yeah, there you go.
Time, that's right, because Mario had time in it and score, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. I was just happy enough to beat it. I was never very good, so it's just like, damn, I saved the princess, but it's in the wrong castle.
He saved the princess, but he was happy to beat it.
Yep.
Hey.
I'm glad Glenn caught that, too.
You guys are ridiculous.
Hey, it's coming out of your mouth.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
That one slipped.
I was going to say something about
right by
Ganon,
me,
but
too.
no, we're not. No, I'm not. Now you just ruined. You just ruined my Zelda reference, man. Thank you. That was brutal. Okay, so we still got a few more minutes left here. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the new technology that's come out as a result of all this retro gaming, or what I say, resurgence or resurrection or whatever. And one of the things that, for those that don't know, ROMs, what ROMs are, we'll talk about in a second here. ROMs have made a huge comeback. And ROMs are the digital copy of these games extracted from the games themselves and made available to play on emulation machines or emulator software. So what does that mean? Yes, you can play Zelda and Excitebike and Mario on your computer anytime you like. However, we'll leave with this caveat. We'll add this caveat to that. It is not legal. So unless you own a copy of the game, I guess, then it's legal. I don't know. But you do what you want on your own. Anyway, ROMs have made a huge comeback because people are our age now. Those that grew up, those kids that were playing those games are now our age, and they're whatever, mid-30s, late 30s, whatever, and they're fiending for more of this nostalgic feel. And so they're downloading these games in masses and finding new ways to play them. one of those ways is hacked consoles. People, the huge movement now. We didn't have this back in the Genesis, the Sega CD game, with none of those things. We didn't start seeing this, I don't think, until there was Game Genie. And that was hacking the games. If you guys recall Game Genie, you back when consoles were console-based, you would put this thing between the console and the game, kind of like I don't know, it would sit in between the two. I don't know how else to describe that.
And gasket.
Yeah, like a gasket, a gasket for fun. Yeah, and it would
cheater's gasket.
Cheater gasket, and it would let you input cheat codes into the games to do all kinds of cool stuff and unlock things, unlock levels, whatever.
Oh, I remember using the Game Shark to get whatever
Game
Pokemon
Shark.
I wanted.
Same thing. Game Shark, Game Genie, they were just two separate companies. But yeah, unlock all the Pokemons. Jeez, you're sick. Yeah, so that was about all we hacked with consoles. When GameCube came out, Wii U, PlayStation 1 and 2, a Dreamcast was a great one. People figured out how to start hacking the consoles and basically getting all the games for free and burning them onto CDs or putting them onto external hard drives or whatever the methodology was. I mean, opening them up, soldering mod chips onto them. It was all different types of ways, hardware hacks, software hacks, whatever. That caused a huge resurgence of these ROMs and therefore boosted retro gaming. So it's like kind of ironic. I look at, actually, I'll follow with that point in a minute here. Another thing that we have is, if you've heard the term Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi is a little tiny computer that changed the world in a lot of ways. A company in Europe, I don't remember where, came up with this little $30 computer, a full-blown, with GUI, mouse, keyboard if you want, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, whatever, a full-blown computer. It's not very fast, but it is a full-blown computer with a GUI like Windows, runs a Linux for $30. It's amazing. It really is an amazing device. And they've come up with iteration after iteration of this, and there's so many things you can do with it. If you have any technical expertise and like tinkering with stuff, and you haven't heard of this, I don't know how you wouldn't at this point, but go pick yourself up one for $30 and play with it. They're a blast. You dick.
All night.
I was watching you mouth it as I was approaching. You knew. Okay, anyway. So one of the things you can do with these Raspberry Pis is what's called RetroPie. And RetroPie is a full OS firmware, OS for it, for the Raspberry Pi, and it lets you play any of these games once you have the ROMs. It's really, really slick. And you can buy any number of, there's a company called 8BitDo, all one word, 8BitDo with a number 8, and they make all kinds of cool retro controllers that look like NES controllers, whatever. They're Bluetooth, and they interface with this this Raspberry Pi running RetroPie. Really, really cool stuff, man. So you can be playing, you can hook it up via HDMI to your computer, to your TV at home, and be playing the old school games just like you used to. Really fun. And then of late, we've seen these classic mini consoles coming out. The classic NES, the classic SNES, and the latest one that was a whole horrible flop was the classic PlayStation 1. Terrible flop, by the way. It's just, I've never seen anything.
I was going to say, must have been bad. I didn't even hear that thing came out.
It was bad. It just came out not too long ago, maybe less than a month ago, and everybody just bailed on them, dude. They did some weird stuff, like they used the 50 hertz PAL versions of the ROMs. They didn't put a beefy enough processor in it. They made it be an emulator, not like a natively. It was just the controllers had no analog sticks, so in none of the analog sticks versions could be played. The controllers were remakes, not redoing the originals. All kinds of problems. It has been hacked though. All three of those have been hacked. And when you hack them again, you can install ROMs on them. So you can go out and buy the classic NES, and you can hack it and put all the NES games that were ever made on it. And there you go. Again, not legal, but you do what you want with your time. The one we're really waiting for though is that N64 classic. I can't wait to do some GoldenEye again. And
dude!
Yes. And if they do it as well as they did the first two, they really remaking the molds for the controller and like really redoing it just as high as quality, it's gonna be amazing.
I still have an N64.
What? That is amazing. Dang.
When's the last time you've gone back and played GoldenEye?
I don't have a 64. And 64 emulation is it's much, much better than it has ever been before. However, finding a good 64 controller is difficult. And that 64 controller was the thing. And unfortunately, those controllers were not that great. They failed.
No, they wore out quick.
They did not last.
Yeah.
So that was the problem. So that was a Nintendo problem. which is why we're all hoping if they bring it back, we'll get good controllers again. Maybe you can hack them and plug them in and make them work with your 64. That would be sweet.
That would be cool.
They should make them so they can survive being thrown at the TV more often.
Come on. Yeah.
Agreed. Those things are way too
Thrown at the
fragile.
wall, smashing on the ground.
I mean, they just had
That's
that
what happened
weird-
to everyone I
Your
had.
cursor's always going to the left.
It's so true.
Or they would get that white powder in the joystick and it would just get all like gritty, you know, like I don't know what that white powder was, but it was like, what the hell is this coming out of the controller?
Right.
I kept wiping it up. and
It's
cleaning
actually the plastic on the inside getting worn off from that lip,
Junk,
so it's
dude.
it's grinding itself down.
Such a great console. Perfect Dark,
Oh yeah.
Yoshi's Island.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I have no idea what that is, but all right.
No one? Nobody.
Mario 64
Oh,
was
man.
amazing. That was game changing. Remember the first time you saw Mario in
Kart.
3D? Mario Kart 64.
Right.
That's the one.
I have all of these on my 3DS, so that's
The
yes.
South Park game.
Oh, Stick of Truth. Not Stick of
No,
Truth.
the
Yes, I remember what you're talking about. That was so annoying. That one gun that would you would get zapped into this weird space and you couldn't do anything. Yeah, I can't remember what that was
The
called.
yellow snowballs.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
dude.
Oh, it was great.
That South Park game was amazing. Yeah, that's some nostalgia right there. Bring that one back. So let me ask you guys something about this though. All talking about all this, old gaming. Do you guys think that? I think I kind of already alluded to it or whatnot, but I kind of wanted to expand on it more if we could. Do you guys think that newer gamers are actually picking up these old games, or is it strictly just us?
I think there is I think there's a market for it. I think people are picking it up, but I don't know. I really got nothing. I would assume it's more so our generation. The people that remember these games and are seeing.
And we have the
these-
money to spend on it now, so they're milking us, right?
Right.
Yeah, you think all the kids that had video games or wanted things they couldn't afford, and all that's coming out now, and they all, they've got spare time, they got a house, they've got time. They're like, I can buy 2 of these systems if I want to.
So originally, I was thinking nobody would care about this old stuff except for us because. Would care about this old stuff because we remember when it was new and when it was out, when it was awesome, right? However, with this resurgence of 8-bit looking games, I don't believe that it's the looks thing anymore. The young generation is playing games that look like the one that are more advanced than what we had by far, but they're still playing games that look kind of like what we were playing back then. So I started thinking, well, does that mean that the door could be open, that people would actually buy? The younger kids would play some of these older games, but I don't know how many younger cousins you guys have or whatever, or brothers or whatever you got, but I have a lot of younger cousins, and I don't see any of them playing this old stuff. I think they're way too inundated with new games that are out there. There's a crap ton of new games.
There are.
Worse than that, you got to own multiple systems now just to keep up because there's exclusives and
I think it depends on their exposure.
That could be it.
Definitely.
If they've got older siblings or if it was something that their parents were into,
yeah.
then they'd be exposed to it. And
that's a valid point because none of their parents in my family were gamers at all. So they had never seen any of this stuff. So you're probably right. If they did see it, it would be through YouTube videos, which they all are watching people. Yeah, that's another trip too. Let's go on YouTube and watch other people play video games while we're playing video games. I don't get that from the current generation, but they do it like it's crack.
Twitch streaming.
Twitch.
I think that has a lot to do with a sense of community.
Yes, it builds a following and it builds a group. Yeah, that's
Well,
for
if
sure.
I'm sitting here
Twitch
alone
chat.
by myself and I want to talk to somebody who's also sitting alone by themselves, I can now do it.
Yeah, and get
Right.
paid for it, right?
And you feel like you're actually talking to somebody.
Yeah.
you're really
I don't know. That's a whole weird new world. Okay, so I wanted to ask you guys that question, and then the last thing on our way out here is let me ask you this: when you guys get this, okay, let me take a step back. You woke up the other day and you were dreaming about or you were thinking about a game that used to be just super badass to you. I mean, just like you spent hours playing this game, you were in love with this game.
Dig Dug.
For me, it was Final Fantasy VII. That was Dig Dug, or the SNES Zelda, Link to the Past. Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage.
Double Dragon.
2.
There you go.
So you get this warm, fuzzy feeling of how much you used to love playing this game, right? And you do one of these options. You either rebuy it or you pack something or whatever the hell. Whatever it is, you get it back in your hand. You go buy one of these mini consoles.
I just go back to my mom's house and take it out of the attic.
Okay, fine. Okay, even that. Or if you get your old system, if you're still lucky enough to have it and have it working, you pull it out. You play with it a little bit. How does it make you feel?
Boy.
No. I had a serious question there.
Can you say that again?
Is the nostalgia actually satisfying?
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, really? I mean, does it? I can't figure out how to word my
super,
word.
You know what? The satisfaction's there, man.
Is it for you? Do you feel fulfilled? I can't.
You obviously didn't have an older brother.
I did not. I mean, does it actually work for you? Does it, is it everything you'd hope?
Does it get you off?
God damn.
Every time I grab that high frequency,
That joystick.
Every time you grab it, huh? It works.
I feel extremely satisfied. That's right. In a nostalgic way. It's like when you were 13.
This is working so well.
It did.
You guys are ridiculous. Well, you know what? Forget it. I don't even have that question. Just completely ruined it. I don't even know how to ask it now.
But
everything you're saying works in the double stick.
It does. It does. It might be a. But okay, like I think back to Mega Man X. Okay, I used to play the shit out of Mega Man X, and I played it recently on the Super Nintendo. My high frequency controller in my hands. And I loved it. I loved it. You go through, you play it, and you relearn that muscle memory, and it feels good just having, getting back into the groove. For me, it was all about that rhythm, that groove.
Oh, that's cool. So it's still like, satisfying that nostalgic feeling that you used to get.
But then you go back and play 007, and you feel like you're banging your head up against the
hella hard to get those
tube screen.
Yeah.
Well, the
CRT, nice. Yep.
Oh.
Well, the controllers, as games have evolved and how human interface has improved and our understandings of how...
Ergonomics, right?
Well, that, and then response time. How
big time.
Yep, yeah.
So the processing power,
That's a very valid point, because like when I go pick up like the original Nintendo controller, which I hadn't in a long time until I got the NES Classic, right? It's like, dude, this is super square and like weird feeling. Like if you were like gripping this, like if you were really in a game and you were gripping, like your knuckles would rub against the sharp edges. And this doesn't feel good at all.
Oh no, it rounds.
Yeah,
you round it.
Yeah, you round it over time.
Your finger's a little router.
Yeah. Take it over the same sandpaper, dude. Start rounding the corners.
Oh, it's my calluses on your fingers.
It's
my old
modded now,
Game
dude.
Boy I used to mod. I'd just heat up the plastic with a lighter and reshape it.
What? Goodness. No, I've seen this guy's old Game Boys. No, it's hilarious the things he used to do to them. He would. He'd burn them and like engrave little signatures into it, little designs.
Mine, not brothers.
I think he had a not yours or something along those lines.
Not yours.
The first time I did that inside, I learned that plastic really reeks.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes,
especially in an enclosed environment.
Oh, I bet.
Nasty.
I bet.
I'm surprised they let you play with fire, Glenn.
Dude, I've been a pyro since day one.
Have you met this guy? He had no supervision when he was a child.
He has no supervision now.
That is exactly what I said, right?
Thanks.
And he's still playing with it.
But
there you go. All right, guys. On that note, we're going to head out. And until next time, thank you for listening. And until next time, keep gaming. Show notes and other info can be found at our website, greatdistraction.com. The Great Distraction is listed in iTunes, and we greatly appreciate it when our listeners take the time to look us up and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps our show grow and motivates us to continue producing content. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so using the email address, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or via our website. We're always interested in hearing any thoughts, comments, or questions from our listeners. Keeping up on the latest from us can be done in several different ways. You can add us to your favorite RSS feed tracker. The link is available on our website or in iTunes. Or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Great Distraction, one word, no space. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the support.